Welcome to the first of our semi-finals, where 6 machines will fight, mash, and destroy their way through for a place in the grand final. Let's see which 6 robots have made it here tonight. The Minsters Cat is a deadly cat with 2 convincing straight wins against Disco Inferno and Mousetrap, breaking both of their weapons. Is it real life, or is it fantasy that Elf managed to win twice without doing an awful lot and letting their opponents take themselves out? The ice hasn't been broken yet, as Ice 2 hacked its way through to the semi-finals by beating both seeds in its heat. Making another semi-final, Xerox managed to secure its place with that new axe, careful strategy and timing. A lucky break for Trillium as it lost its weapon in the first round, but their improved driving and control sent it through by pitting both of its opponents. And Champions Flatline made it through without too much hassle, throwing both opponents up and over for 2 straight wins. We've made it to the first semi-final. Top seeds Flatline will fight Ice 2, Controlbot Trillium takes on the Lucky Elf, and the Sharp Claws of the Minsters Cat against the Sharp Axe of Xerox. The fights here are 1-on-1 knockout rounds, where 3 progress and 3 fight for redemption. So let's get into the action with the first round.
Flatline.
Well on its way to another grand final, Flatline has shown no weakness and has been a dominant force to get here. However, they've never fought an axe before, so this could be interesting.
Ice 2.
Ice 2 has been a surprise to us all, beating Atomic and Lambda very convincingly. It will need to watch its back here, as it might be flipped over easily, and we don't know if it can self-right.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
A good charge from them both. Flatline didn't manage to get the flipper underneath them that time. And Ice 2 bringing down the axe, just missing Flatline and using that wedge to push them around. And Ice 2 really want to try and get to the back. That's where the electronics are exposed, so they're bringing the axe down. Flatline using that flipper panel as a shield. Haven't been able to get underneath them, and it's a couple of good hits from Ice 2 straight onto the top of the flipper. Actually just missing it. It's actually hitting the top plate. That flipper is not doing anything to help the champions. Quite a surprise just now, it just missed again. Flatline bringing the flipper down after raising it up to protect its insides. And Ice 2's axe seems to be a little bit broken. They've managed to get it back now and pummeling into the champions, into the front blade and lifting it up, resetting the axe. This is not how I thought this was going to go. I thought Flatline would be able to get round the back of Ice 2 and throw it over, but this is not happening. Lifting up again, Ice 2 pushing Flatline around, and again the axe jammed a little bit forward. I don't think they're able to reset it. Flatline have not got that flipper underneath Ice 2 once this fight. Ice 2 taking them into the corner, trying to pin them, and another barrage of attacks, and Flatline have trapped the axe using their flipper blade. And Ice 2 lifting them up, carrying Flatline all around. They've managed to release, and now very tentative stuff this. Flatline pretty much doing a lot of the pushing, but just with the back, and Ice 2's axe coming down again, hitting the top of Flatline. They have not gotten that flipper underneath Ice 2 at all this entire fight. Very surprising. They've had plenty of chances, never took them, but Ice 2 has also had plenty of chances and taken advantage of every single one that it's had. Flatline lifting up the flipper, and we're down to the last 10 seconds. This is definitely going to go to the judges, and this is a very good battle to start the semi-finals. Another shove up to the last couple of seconds. Who won that one? And the judges have confirmed the champions have been beaten. They will have to fight in the redemption to get back into the game. Well done, Ice 2, who moves on to the next round. Now for the next fight. Trillium managed to secure its place after a worrying start, but has done well with its driving and control. It will need them all to beat the lucky streak of its opposition. the Mischief Mice have passed their luck onto this machine. But against Trillium, it will really need to put its luck on the line and that axe into action.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Both of them with a good bit of speed, and Trillium managing to get the first sort of attack into Elf, and the axe is gone already! The force of the push from Trillium knocked the axe off from Elf. And now Elf, all it has left is its drive and its luck, maybe. And a great tactical shove there from Trillium as Elf is struggling to get out of the pit floor. It's down a little bit from the floor, so therefore it is completely stuck. And now Trillium trying to release the pit, trying to ram the tyre, but I don't think it's working. Those struts at the back was hindering it, and now I think it's actually helped. Oh, and Elf, they're hanging on for dear life. But I think it's all over for them if Trillium is very careful and manages to push them in. Like so. And that is it for Elf. They go into the redemption round after a lucky streak, but unfortunately it wasn't lucky enough to get past Trillium. They sink into the pit, and Trillium moves on to the next round very convincingly.
Cease.
The luck is running out, and Elf slowly becomes a figment of imagination. Trillium are just one step closer to the grand final. Now it's time for another battle.
Minsters Cat.
Minsters Cat has clawed its way through the competition, breaking weaponry and armour very easily. But how will it fare against an overhead weapon?
Xerox.
Looking to make holes in everything it sees, Xerox will want to aim for that large open target on top of its opposition. But it's not as fast, so control and aggression will be everything.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Xerox out the starting position first, slamming into the wall, and Minsters Cat nearly flipping them over with that attack. Just pushed into them, into the corner, nearly lifted them up, and then threw them over. And if it was any closer, they might have got them out of the arena as well. The axe coming down, just missing the weapon motor of Minsters Cat. Is it a little bit tentative? Xerox nearly attacking the switch on the top of Minsters Cat. If you can turn that off, you've immobilized the robot, but they didn't manage this time. Pinning Xerox into the wall. Minsters Cat will want to try and do the same as they did earlier and flip them over. Couple of love taps, but not a lot of real aggression. And there's a good couple of slams, a good pushing match here, and Xerox bringing the axe down onto, and wait a minute, what was that? Xerox was hammering into the spinning blade, and then did something come flying? Xerox is constantly, yes, something's wet, and no, it's part of the blade! Part of Minsters Cat's cutting weapon is gone! And I'm not sure if that was, and the axe tip is gone from Xerox. Now we have a weaponless fight. It's going to be a pushing match. But hard to say what they have left. And Xerox a little too close to the pit. Minsters Cat released the pit release. And if Xerox was a little bit more powerful, they could have pushed Minsters Cat in. So it's all down to tactics. Xerox did very well earlier against Mischief Mice, so will he be able to do the same to the cat? As Minsters Cat slams into the wall, not exactly the best drive in there, but they're staying into the side, trying to keep away from it. Minsters Cat is the strongest, and Xerox a little bit stuck there for a moment, but they seem to be okay, and Minsters Cat has one wheel over the edge, and it's in the pit! Minsters Cat drove forward, got stuck one wheel over the edge of the pit, and they couldn't do anything else except fall down. They were doing so well, but Xerox are the winners. Xerox moves on without a weapon and the Minsters Cat falls down the pit. It will need to fix its own weapon as it will fight in the redemption round. Taking a look at the lineup for the redemption round, we have our top seeds Flatline, who's been knocked down a peg or two, Elf, whose luck may have just about run out, and the Minsters Cat, whose claws have been blunted. The winner of this gets a chance to fight for a place in the grand final. Let the second chance three-way battle begin.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
And Flatline going straight in for Elf and throwing it over. And with that attack, Elf is now knowing how it feels to come up against something with a bit of power. And trying to break it. And the axe has been broken off. Elf could have used it to self-right, but now, not anymore. They're being counted out. Minsters Cat going in for a cheeky wee shot there. And it's all over for Elf. Unfortunately, thrown about like a toy, and Minsters Cat thrown up in the air by Flatline. And they're going to want to try and get to that exposed weaponry. The exposed servo at the back of Flatline. And Flatline will be on constant guard. Giving them a little nudge towards the pit release tyre, but it didn't go down. Keeping their distance. Trying to get that flipper underneath. Because Minsters Cat is too low at the front. So Flatline will have to try and aim for the back. Which they nearly did, but they just avoided it. Going for a bit of a spin and a shove, a little bit of a dance around the arena. Just seeing where the best point of attack is, and Minsters Cat not using its weapon to great effect, and Flatline managing to get them up and nearly out of the arena as they're spinning and grabbing hold of them. What a throw! Throwing them up, bounced onto the barrier, nearly got them over and then let them go. And Minsters Cat's weapon bouncing them, trying to self-right if at all possible. And now left in the side of the arena and flipped back over again, keep the fight going. Flatline have a lot to prove here. They want to get back in and keep that title. But they're going to have to work a little bit harder than this. Or rather, they're just showing us, I am okay, this is what I can do. And once this is all over, I'll be showing everyone that I am definitely the champion. Another bit of a stalemate. They're trying to find that space underneath Minsters Cat and instead just locking, and I think the weapon's actually gone. It hasn't been working, and throwing them over into the corner. Minsters Cat into the barrier. Flatline got behind it and threw it into the air, and it slid right into the corner. Excellent throw from Flatline. And now leaving them alone. They've toyed with them enough, and the 10-second countdown has begun on Minsters Cat. A great competitor. They did very well earlier against Mousetrap, but that's the end of the line, and Flatline
Cease.
go through. Flatline sending Elf back to the realms of fiction and teasing the Minsters Cat. Farewell to them. We hope to see them again next time. Flatline moves on where it will fight Xerox for a place in the grand final. But before that, Ice 2 will take on Trillium. This here is for the first grand final spot.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
This for a place in the grand final, and also a vengeance battle from the last series as Ice 2 pummels into Trillium's claw with that axe weapon. In the last series it had a wedge. Trillium managed to take advantage of that, but now it's Ice 2 that's taking advantage of Trillium. Bringing that axe down, but I think something's jammed. I think the motor isn't working that axe as well as it did earlier. A good few hits in at the start, and now pushing Trillium into the wall. They do not want to get that claw working. Trillium a little bit confused. They're trying to find a weakness in Ice 2, but Ice 2's front wedge is lower than theirs, and they're managing. Nearly stuck on the pit. I definitely think that axe is broken. Ice 2 releasing the pit as it slowly goes down. So there's a chance that one of these machines will go in it. And Ice 2 doing all the pushing here, shoving Trillium into the sides, not letting them use that claw once, and the axe still broken. They're not going to be able to use that, so they're just going to have to rely on their drive and control, which is something that Trillium hasn't shown yet. Still trying to get round the back of Ice 2. It's a dastardly dance of death for both of them, spinning in circles and not really an awful lot of active weaponry going. And pushing Trillium all around their corner, into the walls, trying to get underneath him and take complete control of the control bot. The claw raised high, waiting to trap its victim and going in for another dance. And pushed around again. We're down to the last 10 seconds. It's been a really good battle, this. Proper tactics and control. And now we're down. Trillium's gone into the pit!
Cease.
They were so close, they could have held on for a judge's decision, but they tried to back away from the barrier and slid into the pit. And Ice 2 has made the grand final. The third seeds are gone, and Ice 2 earns a place in the grand final. Now it's time to see who will join them. Top seeds Flatline or 8th seed Xerox.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Can Flatline redeem itself against this particular axe bot? It's going to have to be a little bit wary this time. Xerox is quite low to the front and pushing it into the barrier just to avoid that weapon completely and see if it can find one gap just to get past. And Xerox hitting into the lid of Flatline. They managed to get away, but this is going to be telling. And pushing, and Xerox hitting into Flatline and actually pushing them back. Now Flatline doing the pushing, and now it's Xerox that shoved them back and flipped them over. Xerox with the axe managed to use Flatline's flipper against it and pushed it to the other side of the arena. Excellent maneuver, throwing them onto their back, forcing Flatline to self-right. And nearly going up the ramp as well. I am stunned. Xerox are putting on an amazing performance and managing to get underneath that flipper blade, which means that Flatline will not be able to take out Xerox if it goes head on. It will need to go for the back. And Xerox has its axe ready for another strike. Just waiting for the right moment till it can get underneath Flatline just like that and not firing its axe, but pushing them backwards. And now Flatline doing a bit of shoving itself, front and back, shoving it towards the pit and trying to trap it on the pit lid. Managed to get away and holding them back again. Maybe trying to see if they can hold them there and then hit the pit release tower, but they were too far away from it. And now Flatline getting pushed back by Xerox. Still haven't used that weapon, so I think the axe might be broken. Now, what Xerox got left? An excellent wedge, definitely lower than Flatline's, and Flatline not able to get round the back of Xerox down in the last 10 seconds, and Flatline are really struggling here. I think it's going to go to the judges again. They've really been earning their paychecks this time, and Xerox going with a final push,
Cease.
and that is it. It's going to the judges. Who have the judges went for? And the upset has happened. The Champions campaign has ended. Flatline are out of the competition, and Xerox makes it to its first grand final. A new champion is to be crowned. Thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the show. And join us next week for our second semi-final, where Disco Inferno, Siren, Atomic, Petrify, Virion, and Penance will fight for those two remaining places. See you then for more Robot Carnage.